Sometimes what frustrates us most is the very thing that we are reinforcing. What we keep tolerating, rescuing, excusing, or overlooking can quietly teach those around us what gets rewarded. Folks, this is a 30. Let's get started. Well, hello there, gang. Welcome to the 30. Thank you for joining us on today. This is a space for meaningful conversation designed to support personal, professional, and leadership growth. The 30 is a production, of course, of the Jackman Group LLC, where we focus primarily on leadership development, team enhancement, and strategic organizational planning. If this is your very first time watching us, if this is your very first time seeing us, welcome, welcome, welcome. Wherever you're watching us from, make sure that you do me a big favor, give us a like. And if you are watching us on YouTube, make sure you subscribe to our channel. Well, tonight I want to talk about something that shows up everywhere in leadership, in work, in relationships, in ministry, in family, and basically in everyday life. Today's topic is, what are you rewarding without realizing it? I'll say that again. What are you rewarding without realizing it? Because sometimes the things that we keep doing are not happening by accident. It's not a coincidence. It's not by accident. Sometimes they keep happening because somewhere along the way, we learn that this behavior works. Whether it's in our childhood, whether it's in our adulthood, but somewhere along the way, we determine that that behavior works. It gets us attention. It gets tolerated. It gets excused. It gets rescued. And at times, it gets rewarded. And if we're not careful, we can end up reinforcing the very things we say we want to change. So that's what we want to focus on. See, what happens is when we look at the word reward, and I looked it up earlier, and the word is defined as something given or receive in return for a service, merit, hardship, or good behavior. With it, we often think about promotion. We also think about praise. We also think about money. We think about recognition. Those are some of the things when we consider or think about the word reward. But reward can also look like this. It can also look like attention. It can also look as or like accommodation, or it can also look as avoidance. Sometimes the reward is simple that the behavior keeps working. Here's the thing. What we keep allowing is teaching people something. If I keep showing up late and nothing happens, people learn that lateness must not matter that much. If I keep communicating poorly and people adjust around me, they learn that clarity is optional. If I keep dropping the ball and someone always rescues me, they learn that follow through is not really required. So, in general, we do not just learn from what we say, we learn from what we repeatedly permit. I'll give an example. A great example of this is in work, whether it's at work, but it's specifically in leadership. And you know what we do at the Jackman Group. We specialize in developing leaders. We deal a lot, most of what we do is developing leaders through training or coaching. We also focus on enhancing teams and helping teams to become more effective and more efficient. So that's our focus, our primary focus. But when we look at leaders and leadership, sometimes as a leader, let's say we must say to our team, I'll give an example. We may say to our team, I want ownership. I'm looking for team members to take the initiative. I'm looking for team members to demonstrate responsibility. I'm looking for team members that are forward thinking, entrepreneurial, getting the job done. But every time that slips, every time one of those things slips, what happens is that as leaders, we jump in and try to fix it. We jump in and try to finish it. We tell our leaders all the time when it comes to developing their teams that leaders are not fixers. Because if we continuously fix things for our team members, what will they learn? What are we doing? What example are we setting up? See, it may look good in the short term, but what are we doing in the long term? What am I rewarding my team members? See, I'm rewarding a culture of dependency. Because if people know that I or someone else on a team will step in, even when things are not going good, if they know that one of us will step in, that I will step in, are we building a culture of dependency, or are we building a culture of growth and interdependency? I argue to say that if we always try to fix things, if we always try to help without giving people the opportunity to grow, we in essence are building a culture of dependency as opposed to building a culture of growth. Because our team members will know that we are always there. And over time, what happens with the leader is that the leader becomes frustrated because they're not getting what they expected. They become frustrated because of the lack of leadership, the lack of growth. But what are we doing? We are reinforcing the behavior. We're actually reinforcing what we said we don't like. And folks, this doesn't just happen at work. It happens in life. It happens in relationships. It happens in the things that we do. See, sometimes we reward what we secretly don't like. We do it, but later on, we complain about it. We don't like it, but we do it. And then at the end of it, we complain about it. But yet we're reinforcing it. Why do we do that? Because it's easier. It's easy to do. It's easier to respond in the moment as opposed to addressing the pattern. I'll say that again. It's easier to respond in the moment as opposed to addressing the pattern or the problem. It's not that easy. We choose short-term relief over long-term clarity. Sometimes as leaders, we choose a quick response over healthy correction. And we just don't do it as leaders. We do it in life. We do it in relationships. We do it on a daily basis if we're not careful. So first, I give an example of a leader at work within an organization. I'm going to give you what this looks like in a relationship or life. See, a great example happens when someone keeps forgetting important dates, important things, like maybe your anniversary, maybe the other person's birthday. So we keep forgetting the important dates. We keep forgetting important details. We keep forgetting important conversations that was had. And the other person covers for us. The other person makes excuses and carries the emotional load where we keep forgetting all these things. So they keep picking up for us, right? They keep carrying us, carrying that load. In essence, we should be carrying it, but they're carrying it for us. And here's the thing. Over time, that person who makes the excuses or who carries it, who carries the load for us, they feel hurt. They feel frustrated and unseen because they're carrying us and we're just there. They're making excuses for our behavior. Because what keeps getting absorbed, folks, without being addressed, starts to look like permission. We're given permission for the behavior to take place. And here's the key. Rewarding something does not always mean we agree with it. Sometimes it means we have not interrupted it. We haven't stopped it. We haven't said enough is enough. We're rewarded. And what gets repeated becomes culture. And culture is not just what's written on the wall. See, sometimes we see things on the wall, right? Especially in an organization, whether corporate or government or non-for-profit. We see things written on the wall. We assume that that's part of the culture, but if we dig deeper, it's not part of the culture. It's what's accepted, but it's not really part of the culture. And culture is not just what's written on the wall. It's what people learn that actually works. If drama gets attention and drama gets rewarded, if poor communication is tolerated, confusion gets rewarded. If low accountability, responsibility is excused, and consistency gets rewarded. People stop asking, what does the leader say matters. See, if we don't do something about it, if we don't take action, the behavior doesn't stop. It continues. So what does the leader say, and how we say it truly matters. Because people are watching us. And if they're watching the type of behavior that we don't like, but we're saying that shouldn't happen, if they're seeing that happening, guess what they'll do? They'll reinforce it. So they start watching, and what they're seeing is being reinforced. I'll give an example. And this, I see this in organizations. Not all of them, but I see it. I've seen it over the years. And it shows up when leaders say they want teamwork, but celebrates individual achievements. It's crazy. You're talking about the importance of teamwork, working as a team. But when it comes to rewards, we're rewarding the individual. So how does that mirror a team? A great book that we talk about and that we discuss in our training is the 5 Dysfunctions of a Team. It talks about that, right? We should look at it as a team as opposed to individual. So we talk about team, but we celebrate individual achievements. We say that communication matters, but allow key individuals to stay disconnected. Doesn't make any sense. We say as leaders that culture matters, but give a pass to someone who creates tension simply because they're talented. I've seen this over my career, whether working in a team or teams or developing leaders and teams. We focus on achievement as opposed to focusing on what we need to focus on, the team. We celebrate the individual that creates tension just because they're talented, just because they're maybe our number one player. They create a tension within their team. So we suffer as a team because of this one individual. It shouldn't be like that. Shouldn't be like that. The message becomes clear when that's happening, when that takes place. The message is talent outruns character. Because of the tension this person brings forth, the team suffers. There's discontent within the team. There's low morale within the team, all because of that one person. And we tolerate it. We reward the behavior because of their talent and their gifts. And that message becomes clear. And one of the messages is that talent outruns character. Another one is results outruns health. And that becomes the culture. We're saying one thing, or we put one thing on the wall, but we tolerate or reward something else. The question is, what are you rewarding without realizing it? That is the question for today. Folks, sometimes what gets rewarded is not big behavior, instead it's small patterns. So I'm going to ask you a couple of questions here. So let me ask you this. What might you be rewarding without realizing it? What might you be rewarding without realizing it? At work, at home, in leadership, in relationships? That's the first question. What are you rewarding without realizing it? The second question that I want you to really think about is this. What keeps happening that you say you don't want, but your patterns may be reinforcing it? What happens? What is that about? Something that you say you don't want, but your patterns is reinforcing it. Only you can answer that. So over the coming hours, days, weeks, I want you to ask yourself those two questions. And what will your responses be? What is my response teaching me? I want you to reflect on those two questions that I just gave you. And you can go back and replay them. If you're live, thank you for being live, for watching this live. If you're watching this in replay, certainly thank you also for watching it in replay. But go back and replay it. Those two specific questions. And what is your response? What are your responses to those two questions? So, folks, as we close, I'll leave you out with this. Ponder on these things that I'm going to leave you with. But I'm also going to leave you with a challenge. Not just going to leave you with something to ponder on. I'm going to leave you with a challenge. So here are a couple of things. What you reward will repeat. I repeat that again. I'll say that again. What you reward will repeat. What you tolerate will grow. What you rescue too quickly may never fully develop. And what you fail to address can quietly become normal. You can ponder on those statements I just made. But here's a challenge that I want to challenge you with. I want you to pay attention to what patterns you're teaching. Because leadership, relationship, and culture are shaped not only by what we say we want, but by what we keep rewarding without realizing it. So, folks, that's it for now. I want to thank you for being part of this episode. Thank you for being part of the 30. Continue to send us your ideas for topics of our upcoming episodes. And in coming weeks, I'm going to be talking to some of our team members at the Jackman Group. You'll get to see some of the behind the scenes. You'll get to hear what some of our team members do, some of our excellent partners and consultants. So I'll be interviewing some of them down the road in the coming weeks and months, and hear more about their story, hear more about what we do as an organization, but more importantly, hear more about how we can help you. We want to hear more about your story, more about what you're doing, and how we can assist you getting from where you are to where you desire to be. So I'm excited about next couple of weeks, next couple of months, talking about those things, interviewing others on the 30. And remember, if this episode or any of our episodes resonated with you, I invite you to stay connected through our MPACT Leaders CONNECT community. You'll hear more about that also. So to learn more, the link is in a description. Click on the link, learn more about the community, and invite you to join. We have 3 tiers of the community. You can start at the lowest or you can go with the highest, but there are 3 tiers of the Connect community, and you'll hear more about those tiers. You'll hear more about how you can join, but I want you to click on the link that's in the description to learn more about our MPACT Leaders CONNECT community. So that's it for now. Thank you once again for being here. As I leave, may God bless you and your family. We will see you next week, God willing. Bye for now. Peace, love, and happiness. See you next week. God bless you.